Executive producer in action. Hey, it is Wednesday, April 9th, almost tax day. And we are joined today by our hostess with the mostest, Jackie Saxton and Mark Huckber. Our special guests are Mayor Todd Logsdon, where today, evidently, it's ice cream day in Frostburg.
You're darn right it is.
And we've got from Garrett County Central Committee, Fred Fox. Take it away, guys.
All right. Thank you, Dwight. I mean, Todd, Fred, I think we're going to start with a question that's on everybody's minds, at least over on this side of the mountains. How's your pollen count?
There was snow on the ground yesterday.
Yeah, the pollen we had yesterday was snow.
They got something different falling from the sky.
That's right.
Ugh. Yeah, there's not enough zero tech in the world for me right now.
I was going to say, I think we're going to have to talk to Dwight because I saw an awful lot of shots of Ocean City in that video, and not enough of the mountains.
Not enough Deep Creek.
Not enough Deep Creek.
Not American Miniature that I remember.
I'm working on a new opening where I've got actually pictures of the cranes from Frostburg and Deep Creek Lake and so on. Now I'm gone again. It's okay. Well, Todd, one of the things we've talked to you about in the past is your role as mayor of Frostburg. I think the last time we did it, I think you had been relatively recently elected. So tell me, what's keeping you busy as mayor?
So right now, I've been in office for about 9 months. I took office in July of last year. So currently we are in the budget process. So as with all of the counties and municipalities, we start our budget process usually in February, maybe March. And there's only so much that we can do until we see what the General Assembly is going to give us, as far as what the tax rates are going to be, what the local impact grants, aid to counties and municipalities. I mean, we have a general idea, but there's only so much we can do until the General Assembly actually passes the budget, which, they did with 45 minutes to spare the other night. So that's what's keeping us busy right now. Specifically to Frostburg, I'm also hiring an administrator. We're working on that, but the budget is really what's keeping us going right now. I am proud to say that despite all of the tax increases and fees and everything that's coming down from Annapolis, in the city of Frostburg, we have been able to hold almost all of our tax and fee rates the same. Our property tax rate will remain the same as it has been for the last, 6 or 7 years. Our water consumption rates are the same. All of our rates are the same. The only thing that has changed is our garbage collection rate, which will increase by an amazing, way out of control, $2 per month. That is the only fee increase we've had in the city of Frostburg, is a $2 increase in the garbage fund. So we've really been able to tighten our belts. Now, maybe we're not paving as many streets this year as we wanted to as we did last year, but we've really been able to hold tight, and I'm very proud of our staff, our finance department, and all of our other folks at City Hall that have been able to make that happen.
Okay, so hold on one second while I go put the for sale sign outside of my Gaithersburg townhouse, where my property tax is about to go up another 3.5% and spend an extra several $100s a year on waste removal. I think you should come run for mayor up here. We could use you. So, Fred, I mean, obviously you're not a mayor, so I don't know how close you've been watching the budget, but do you have any idea kind of what similar impacts are going to be coming to Garrett County?
I think we got really good leadership here in the county, with Paul Edwards chairing our commissioner group. So we've been able, fortunately, to, I think, hold the line in a pretty static way. I mean, there's always pressures and all those kinds of things, but I think Paul, under his leadership, has done an really nice job, looking ahead and getting out ahead of things. I mean, we just had in my hometown of Friendsville, groundbreaking for a $2 million library, which you don't think of any new construction, in small town in rural America these days. But that was George Edwards and Wendell Beitzel who architected that result some years ago. So they had the foresight to get that done. So that was a nice sort of green shoot of good things to come, we hope. We're, we're pretty resilient because of the lake, Deep Creek Lake, and all the people who come here for. Of course, we had a wonderful ski season for the first time in a number of years. So I think we're holding our own and doing a good job of it. That knock on wood, because we never know.
So obviously we have very differing views on energy policy between our state government and our new federal government. Is there any opportunity, because it seems like there's a lot of opportunity for natural gas in Western Maryland? Is there a chance that that can be explored under the Trump administration, either with or without the cooperation of Westmore?
I mean, that's kind of up to the Moore administration of how willing they are to cooperate with that. Obviously, the federal, the change in leadership at the federal level is more favorable to, more conducive to domestic energy production, which is something that I think a lot of folks especially in rural America, as Fred says, and in Western Maryland are looking to. I mean, with Allegheny County and Garrett County to an extent also, our history is built on energy production. I mean, we were a world-class production area for coal for many, many years. Of course, the phrase clean coal, some people believe that to be sort of an oxymoron. Some people in state government believe that there is no such thing. But of course, we know here in Western Maryland that there is. So, I mean, the federal government seems favorable to it. The degree to which the state government is willing to allow us to exploit an economic resource that we have, I mean, that's really up to them. Historically, we've not seen a ton of cooperation with the state leadership, and that's been across party lines. I mean, it was the same way when Hogan was in office, and it was certainly that way when O'Malley was in office too, of what we used to call, I don't think it's quite so bad now, but we used to call in the old days the war on Western Maryland. It was our manufacturing facilities went away. We weren't able to produce energy. We were told no all the time. You can't do this, to the point where it's really caused generational economic stagnation in Western Maryland. So, I mean, Governor Moore says that he's committed to rectifying that. We'll see if that's real.
Yeah, especially with the energy prices in Maryland specifically have been skyrocketing the way that they have. You think that they'd be looking for any opportunity to bring some economic prosperity to the state, and especially to Western Maryland.
Right.
Sure. It's fascinating when you look at where you are with Pennsylvania to the north, where fracking and natural gas production has generated boom, and obviously to the south, there's coal, but also natural gas production in West Virginia. I know there were a lot of people who thought that there was great opportunity in Western Maryland, but they couldn't do the exploration work in order to make that happen.
Right.
And I think about 10 years ago, or I can't remember, it was 8 or 10 years ago, somewhere in that time, where Maryland took the step of basically banning fracking from taking place in the state. So Jackie is an interesting point, whether or not the feds could possibly overturn that.
Yeah.
I think there was an announcement in DC. Pardon me.
Yeah.
I think there was an announcement in DC yesterday by the Trump administration with a move to benefit, as Todd mentioned, clean coal. So that had a lot of folks out this way, applauding for sure. If that can seep its way into Garrett County and into Maryland, time will tell. But that was a good, good omen, I think, at least from the Trump administration for this part of the world.
Yeah.
It's interesting because at the federal level, or in the state level, my condominium and Leisure World and others are suing the state on their anti-natural gas, that is for appliance regulations.
Mm-hmm.
And the theory behind that is kind of irrelevant to this, which is the theory is that federal law sets the standards for appliances, therefore state law can't come up with
supersede that. Yeah.
Supersede that. So the same theory could apply to federal action that would allow for for natural gas production in Western Maryland. We'll see.
And
So
more
we'll
powerful
let
shower
you two
heads.
get on that, and you can give us an update in a few months on how it's going.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it seems like a really worthy cause to bring, jobs to the area and more people to the area. That, I mean, it's so beautiful out there, and you guys have so much to offer. And I
Well,
know
and
sometimes you struggle.
I'll give you an example on top of that. So not only being unfriendly to future developments of energy, but even current things that are here. We just had last year, the state forced the early termination of a contract for a place called AES Warrior Run, Allegheny Energy Services at Warrior Run, which is a power plant. It's an electricity generating plant, but it's a coal plant. So, oh my God, it's the boogeyman. And they forced the early termination of a contract, and they closed that facility, which not only threw, oh my God, I don't know, 600 or 700 people out of work, but we're also not producing electricity anymore, which is probably the number 2 thing that they were whining about in the General Assembly. Where are we going to get all this electricity from? We had a perfect place to do it, not only to do it, but was already doing it, had been doing it for 30 years. And you said no.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds like some legislation worth pursuing. God, Lord help us the next time we have session.
And to their credit, and I am one of the blessings that we have here in Western Maryland is our awesome delegation that we have. The District 1 delegation, Senator McKay and delegates Jim Heinbaugh in 1A and Jason Buckle in 1B, who's the minority leader, and Delegate Terry Baker in 1C. They are phenomenal, and they punch way above their weight in Annapolis, and they do everything that we can. And we are blessed beyond measure to have our District 1 delegation that's able to do what they do. But I mean, there's 47 senators, and there's 13 Republicans? How many were there? 13, 15?
I think it's like 10.
Not enough, right? So there's only so much that Senator McKay can do. So
yeah, and you think some of these Dems would be a little bit more like middle of the road minded to at least bring some relief to their constituents, because what you guys would be able to do out there would impact all of us.
Yeah.
I
digress.
So when we talked in the past, Todd, we talked a little bit about your campaign and the decision to run for mayor and how you ran your campaign. And it's relevant because, as you probably know, a lot of folks are encouraging conservatives, Republicans to run for municipal office. Again, you've got a little bit more time in office. You're now a little better known. What advice do you have to somebody who might be aspiring to run for local office?
So my number one piece of advice that I give to everybody is you can't fake authenticity. You can't fake caring. You can't fake knowledge about your community. If a person wants to step up and be a leader in their community, I applaud that and I encourage it 100%. But you have to know your community and you have to know what you're doing. It can't just be something that I want to call myself the mayor of Frostburg because I want to draw $100 a week salary to have to go to meetings 5 nights a week, and my wife gets pissed off because I don't come home till 9 o'clock at night, whatever. It has to be something you have to be authentic, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be, a life, like you can't move to a different town and you can't do whatever, right? Like I've lived in Frostburg my entire life. I know this town backwards and forwards and diagonal like the back of my hand. But that doesn't have to be it. I mean, if a person is a transplant to a different community or is whatever, you have to be authentic. You can't pretend that you're something that you're not. You can't pretend to make connections with people that you don't really know and try and be in on an inside joke that you don't really know about. You have to be real, and people can see right through that if you're not. You can't be fake. You can't be. I say all the time, like I talk just like I'm talking right now, right? I know sometimes like I'd lean into an accent and I sound like I'm from friggin' Mississippi or someplace. You have to be authentic. You have to care about the things that you care about, whether it's cool or not, whether it's in or not. And quite frankly, you have to not care about the things that you don't care about. You have to be real with people. And if you're not, they can see right through it. Dwight said at the beginning of the thing today, he said, it's ice cream day in Frostburg. You're damn right it is. I made a post on Facebook right before I came on here. We have our little like summertime ice cream shop here called the Frostburg, the Tasty Freeze. And today's the first day that it was open. So I drove there and I waited in a line, 58 people long. I took a picture of me getting my little ice cream sundae. Not because it's like what the mayor should do or what it's politically motivated. It's because I freaking love ice cream, right? It's one of my 4 food groups. You have to be authentic. You have to be real with people. That's it.
So, Fred, as a central committee member, you've probably seen a lot of candidates come to you guys for help. And so does that kind of track with what you've seen? Is that an issue you've seen with candidates in the past, that they're just not able to relate as much to the people they're running to represent?
I think sometimes we seem to get in hot water by pushing candidates in the local elections because the popularity that these folks have, their families' presence in the communities for many, many years. So it becomes, we may need to have a subset of the Republican Party called the Authentic Party, right, Todd? Because people have the territory and their favorites over a lifetime. So you have to Todd's point exactly, we have to maintain authenticity and not just come in and wave the Republican flag, but really understand the issues, the deep-seated issues that span, generations. So
Yeah.
it's always, so that's always, we've learned that in some of the Board of Ed, elections where we've tried to, lift the heavy weight on that regard, even in municipalities. But we've had some, so we've kind of dialed it back, our aggressiveness in the municipal elections, but we've had some success in the recent elections to gaining a couple seats without, blowing it up the whole system, So, but under Luann Riddell's leadership, she's been very keen on that, but we're trying to find the right balance of effort, and even recruiting candidates where I think we need to do a little more of an effort in that regard.
So I have to make my YR plug and put that hat on for a second. So Todd, have you found that being a YR, elected official, a mayor, has inspired other young people to want to get involved, to approach you and be like, because I know there's not a ton of young people probably outside of Frostburg University in Western Maryland and Garrett and Allegheny County. Have you found that this has kind of opened up that pathway for more young people to want to run out there?
I think that there has been some, even if it's not a direct, measurement of, well, this person did something, so I can do so. I think it has definitely changed the attitude. And again, like I hesitate to even say this because it sounds self-fulfilling, and I just hate that. I hate the idea of patting yourself on your back. So I hesitate to even say this. But like when I was elected last year and I took office in June, the person who the mayor that came before me, the person who I defeated in the election, who's a great guy, who I like. As a matter of fact, I just talked to him today. He was helping us. He was at City Hall serving on a committee. He's a great guy. But there's this idea of, I think, newness, right? That the person that was there before me was in his late 60s and has somebody who had been there for a long time. It's like a generational difference. I don't know what it is, but I think that there is. Yes, there's an idea of like just newness, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and bringing in maybe a little bit of generational change can bring,
Sure.
like, again, new ideas, right? I mean, I know you're like the boomer when it comes to technology of young people, but being able to
Look at my screen. I couldn't even figure out how to do that.
Right. But more young people in office can at least hopefully bring about some new technological changes, things like that.
Well, you have a very young jurisdiction. Obviously, you've got a connection we've talked about in the past with Frostburg State, and it sounds like the two are very much integrated. Sometimes there's town-gown friction, but that doesn't seem to be the case in Frostburg, and you've been able to build good bridges of good connections with the school. Yeah,
we love the university community. We just had, the matter of fact, I said about seeing the former mayor today. We had a town gown meeting. It's in our charter that X 2 or 3 whatever times a year we're supposed to have a meeting with city leadership and university leadership to talk about, the issues that each bring to the table and the opportunities and connections. We just talked about that. FSU has a brand new president, Dr. Darlene Smith, who used to be the provost at the University of Baltimore. She's out here at Frostburg now. She's doing a hell of a job, and that's one of the things we talked about is, that when we're fortunate enough to have a community of 4,000 and some odd students that are here most of the year, even if they're not technically, citizens, residents of the town. They're here most of the time. They spend a heck of a lot of money in our town. They keep a lot of our businesses going, and they're fun to hang out with. And they do a lot of they do a lot of charity work in our town. You know, we have our spring cleanups, we have our tons of events in town. That's a crucial asset. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would add the same is true in Garrett County with Garrett Community College, or Garrett
Yeah.
College it's now called. You know, it's a vital part of the community on many levels, and it brings a lot of non-traditional students to Garrett County, not just from Baltimore City, but you know, from Europe. You know, a lot of athletes come over from Europe, and it's amazing how they recruit these kids to be there, and they're very successful in the athletic fields and in the athletic, you know, in the gymnasium and whatnot, which, you know, might seem a little trifle perhaps, but you know, it brings sort of a curb appeal to the college, and keeps the school top of mind into what is available to people of all ages, because the community college, you know, teaches young people, but also for our senior citizen folks who are keen on lifelong learning. There's a lot of opportunities for them in many areas to get to advance their knowledge and even learn new skills in this sort of new AI-driven economy.
Oh, we lost Todd. Well, Fred, I know that a ton of events
Hopefully,
happen.
I was going to say, Jackie, hopefully AI is not going to eliminate the job of mayor anytime soon, right?
I don't think AI is authentic enough for that yet, if we're sticking on that theme.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So I know you guys both have a lot of events that happen in your counties as springtime approaches. I know more about the fall and winter events, but now that ski season's over, what kind of events do Garrett and Allegheny have to look forward to that people can mark their calendars to head out there for?
Well,
Fred,
I can tell you, yeah, this is the 100th anniversary year of Deep Creek Lake. So there's a big centennial celebration throughout the year that's just got recently kicked off, and there are a lot of events under that rubric. So it's going to be an exciting year in that regard. So, you know, with the nice ski season I mentioned that we've already had, it was a nice segue into what we hope will be a very robust 2025. But of course, I have to give a plug for the premier event of the year, the Lincoln Reagan Dinner at Wisp Ski Lodge by the Garrett County Republican Central Committee, which I think is a go-to, must-have passport type of event. July 25th.
They have a great DJ every year.
Yeah, he's fabulous. He's fab. Hollywood might steal him away, but you know, not anytime soon. But yeah, so we're having a great speaker, the international expert on China, Gordon Chang, is going to be speaking at the event. So we've had a lot, as Jackie knows, and Todd comes. You know, we've had great speakers over the last few years. Yeah, so that's super exciting. In that part.
When's that coming up?
July 25th. It's a Friday night.
Perfect. Mark your calendars.
Indeed. On a lower level, you know, we have our, you know, standard events. You know, I'm sure Todd has similar events in the Frostburg metropolitan area. You know, we have our local community, you know, town festivals. We've had, of course, the Mac Daddy of them all is the Garrett County Agricultural Fair in August. So a lot of good events going on, and but again, spearheaded by the Deep Creek 100 this year.
Absolutely. We've got tons of stuff going in Frostburg too. We've got here coming up at the end of April, we've got the Frostburg Arts Walk, which is our Frostburg First, which is our Main Street development organization that kind of helps our Main Street businesses. They bring a lot of the art community, partly from Frostburg State, but also partly just the kind of art scene that's in Frostburg generally. They bring that out. I lost the date. Oh gosh, I can't remember. We've got our spring cleanup stuff going on. Our one real big event that we do, I shouldn't say that, there's more than one, but like our big event that everybody looks forward to is right on July 4th on Independence Day. We have what's called Derby Day. The Frostburg Elks Club sponsors a downhill soapbox derby. Kids come out and, well, their dads, probably their parents, build these wooden soapbox cars. They get sponsors from local businesses. It's an all-day event. Hundreds and hundreds, if the weather's nice, maybe 1,000 people come out and they sit on the sidewalks and on the lawn at the Elks Club and they watch these races. And it's kind of our 4th of July thing. It usually starts with right at the beginning at 8, 9 o'clock, whatever time it starts. It starts with a reading of the Declaration of Independence because it is Independence Day after all. So we take care of that. We have all of our events there, or we have that particular event there. Of course, the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, it runs 12 months out of the year. They're transitioning out of their winter mode now into springtime. They've got the, oh shoot, what's it called? I want to get the name right. The Cottontail Comet. That's right. The Cottontail Comet Easter train that makes a trip up to Frostburg. The kids get off. They go look for eggs all over the place. They find the thing and go back. The Scenic Railroad's a really, really awesome thing. I know probably everyone on here has been on the train, but if you haven't, or if you're watching on a direct line and haven't visited the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, it's a cool trip. It's a cool day trip, especially if you have kids. It's a really neat time. So Frostburg, I say all the time, is a 4-season destination. It was the first day of the Frostburg Freeze. I got the Georgia Connection, in case you're wondering, which is vanilla ice cream with peanut butter with crushed peanuts on it. So
That sounds delightful.
It's sitting right there waiting for me to jump off here.
I wish you had been able to bring a sample.
Well, so here's the thing, Mark. And I'm not going to put this on you. I'm going to put this on Dwight.
Okay.
He keeps teasing me. I have been saying every time I'm on direct line, Dwight says, "Oh yeah, we're going to come. I'm going to bring the pizza club to Frostburg. I'm going to come and we're going to go because it's a college town. There's got to be tons of pizza places up there, and there are. And I've yet to see any of you. So Dwight Patel, if you want my vote for first vice chairman, you're going to have to bring the pizza club to Frostburg."
Not that
I'll
there's
be
any
up there the week after convention. How's that?
Okay.
It's in writing. It's in the chat.
That's right.
Yeah.
You've heard it here. It's sealed now. That's legally binding.
See, I was going to give him a little bit more flexibility and suggest that he stop on his way up to the Lincoln dinner in Garrett County in July. But going sooner is better, although there's nothing to stop him from going twice, right?
Absolutely.
That's true.
So, Todd, as mayor, now they've been on, I guess, 9 months, you mentioned. Can you share some of the requests that maybe you weren't expecting from your constituents?
I'd say maybe some unusual requests have included things like, I have a vacant building that's still connected to the water main. It still gets municipal water service, but I don't want that anymore. So can I just stop paying it? Can I just stop paying my bill? Well, no. If you don't want water service anymore, there's a way we can do that. But no, you cannot just stop paying your bill. That's I don't know. Requests for, I haven't seen anything really unusual yet, other than maybe, I know one. I had a lady one time that called me right after Christmas. It might have been January. It might have been first week of January. And she said, "The snow plow is coming down my street too often." She said, "I live on a dead-end street with 10 houses on it, and the snow plow has been down my road 3 times today. That seems awfully wasteful. Shouldn't they go somewhere else?" And I said, "Well, talk to your neighbors. I don't know if they would agree with you on that, but I'll tell them that maybe they don't have to go so often."
So, Fred, does that suggest a different approach towards government services in Western Maryland? And I can't see anybody like that doing that in Montgomery County for sure.
No.
Yeah, I think our posture is to be at the ready every month of the year except July, for snow. I think George Edwards used to say, that July or August was the only month of the year that it has never snowed in Garrett County. So we're always at the ready with the snow plows and snow trucks, because you just never know, as evidenced by yesterday's surprise white stuff.
So, Todd, I would say, as you talked about unexpected things, did you have anything that was kind of on your mind that, okay, when I get elected, I want to make sure I do this, that you've been able to accomplish?
I think transparency. I think that there was there were some concerns about transparency that were evident in the campaign and in the election last year that I've been able to kind of rectify, just making sure that when decisions are made, that the public knows why the decisions are made. And it's not to suggest any kind of wrongdoing on the part of any, officials or anything, but, a decision gets made. We sit in the office back here and we figure out, all right, this is what we're going to do once we go out into the public meeting, which is fine. I mean, you have your work sessions, you have whatever. But then when we get out to the public meeting, it was always, this is it. Any questions? Okay, let's vote on it. And there was really no discussion about it in public. Now, granted, all the discussion happened back here, and that's okay. But you need to show the public not only that you're making sound decisions, but that you have thought of questions. If you don't ask questions in public meetings, the people that watch the public meetings aren't going to think, oh, well, they've got it all figured out and they know. They're going to think something's going on here, or my officials have no idea and they're just letting city staff run the show, or they're just doing whatever. And that might not be the case, but if you don't show them, then they don't know, right? So I would say transparency has been the thing. Since I have taken office in July, the average length of a city council meeting has gone from 20 minutes to 90 minutes. So approximately.
You might be the first person to brag about making a meeting longer.
So, Fred, talk to me about some of the municipalities in your county.
Yeah, so most people know Oakland. I'm sure that's the county seat, and it's going under. It's always seems to be going under a lot of change, but also sort of has this, residual. The hospitals there, the courthouse is there, and all that. You see the trains roll through every day, filled with coal. But it's amazing how the amount of coal that gets shipped through there on the trains. I think head down to Cumberland, down there past your part of the world, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Grantsville is making where Senator Edwards is now as a town councilman. Grantsville is doing great guns and developing new housing solutions that have been long sought after. So some investments and some forethought has led to some housing, new housing, affordability type of homes there, which I think is going to help the housing shortage. But of course, Deep Creek Lake is, the golden goose, right? So we have that, which brings its own challenges, right? We get a good amount of tax revenue from the property taxes of some of those high-end homes up on Ski Mountain, but it also impacts, the housing markets in the lower, communities like Friendsville and Accident, and surrounding communities, Kitzmiller. So it takes the affordability out of reach for some people. So this Grantsville solution, I think, is going to be super helpful. So it's again, it's centered around Deep Creek Lake, not just because of its 100th year, but there's a lot of that draws a lot of people in, people that have some serious consequence. I mean, well, I guess the story's old by now, but the Penn State head football coach bought a $4 million property at the lake a year before last. So that was a notable type of transaction that caught people's attention. The 1,000 acres golf course that brings a lot of people from DC and Baltimore, and even New Jersey and New York down to live the good life there. So there's a lot of things going on. So it's not quite as static as you might think, but this influx of people and their ideas, I think it still brings a lot of people who are Republican in nature. We had the gentleman who's retired here. He's a former director of the and was a TV show, NIS, Naval and Question.
NCIS. NCIS, yeah.
Yeah. He grew up in Wisconsin, Republican kind of guy, and he found his retirement home here in Garrett County because he loves the culture, he loves the politics of the people primarily, and that's part of our job as the committee, is to make sure we maintain and keep our stronghold in the Republican Party on the ground here, because there's more and more inroads that we can see of a sort of a left-leaning ideology coming into the county. So And again, Luann and Paul Edwards and the leadership of Republicans in the county have done a good job to kind of, hear them out, but also toe the line of the principles and ideas of Republican Party that's, that we're known for and are committed to uphold. So
do
Nice.
most of the people come in from Maryland, or do they come in from Pennsylvania, or mix? Where do the home
to the
builders
lake,
come by?
it's a combination of Ohio even now. More and more folks from Ohio are coming down from that part of the world. But we're getting more New Jersey, more New York type of people. But Ohio, Pennsylvania, not so much West Virginia, but they have similar types of opportunities there. But a lot of Baltimore, a lot of DC people, that make their second homes here. And of course, it became, I think, their primary homes effectually during COVID because they could work from home. And I've heard of a number. This is anecdotal in nature, but I've heard of even people who were working for the federal government living in Garrett County full time that they've had to retire early because they didn't want to go back to DC and work in the office again under the new administration. But so there's sort of a pretty good diverse population. The trouble is reaching them when they're here because they're transient in nature. So they're here to get away from it all, not to get too deep into it. So, but we've been able to, I think, make some inroads, but there's more opportunity there to make that outreach.
Now, have there been concerns with, the cost of living in Maryland being as high as it is and pretty much only getting worse with this new budget that's been passed? Have there been concerns of a lot of people moving from Garrett and Allegheny just over the border to West Virginia?
Oh, absolutely. It's been happening, and it's only going to get worse. And not only people moving, but businesses themselves. I swear to God, this is a true story. I talked to somebody yesterday who owns a tire shop right outside, not in the city limits of Frostburg, but close enough that we call it Frostburg. And he said, I'm going to have to close. He said he's very pessimistic. He said, it is unlikely that in 2 years I'll still be open because of the taxes, the fees that were passed by the General Assembly. I mean, tires are triple taxed now. I don't have to repeat all the details on that. You guys know. But he said, Kaiser, West Virginia, which is a town of, 5,000-ish people, a decent enough town that they have a lot of services. Kaiser, West Virginia is a half hour from here. And if you don't think that people in Allegheny County will drive a half hour out of their way to save $100 on a new set of tires, if you think people won't do that, you're insane. They absolutely will do that.
Yeah.
In fact, I might do that, as much as I hate to say it, but what can you do?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because then they might start taxing you for every mile you drive to get there, too. So
Right.
It balances out. It's unfortunate. I mean, hopefully, we can clip this and send it to the General Assembly and be like, hello, this is what you guys are doing to us.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, Fred, you have a similar phenomenon because you're on the border on a couple of sides, or close enough for people to.
Oh yeah, I mean, the sort of the impetus to leave the county is even heightened now because of all the increase in fees and taxes, and it's difficult for people to stay here as the cost of living increases just naturally. Coming out of the inflation we've had over the past couple of years, and now with increased fees and taxes, it's difficult. It's very difficult, and I feel for folks. But there's a lot of, the culture, I would say here, and I'm sure it's true in Allegheny County too, Todd, is people look out for each other. There's all kinds of, if someone gets sick, and serious medical issues, there's circle the wagons. We need to help out this family or this young man or young lady or this young family. And then we had Special Olympics this year at when they have the Deep Creek Dunk. It raised like $182,000.
Wow.
It was incredible. So people are drawn to that sort of mission that matters kind of motif. And but for the garden variety stuff, it's tough to stomach, these fees and taxes that are coming our way. It's going to be I don't want to say train wreck, but it's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we come up kind of on the last few minutes of the show here, we like to give you guys an opportunity to plug anything else that you'd like to. I know we talked about upcoming events, but do either of you have anything else that you want to plug? Get in there before we wrap up.
So we
Okay.
know about Lincoln
Oh,
dinner
go
is coming July 25th.
For Garrett, yeah. What about
Yeah,
us,
for-
Annie's? Do you guys have your
Ah,
scheduled
yep.
yet?
So we don't have our scheduled yet. It's going to be in the fall. It's going to be at least in October, probably. Our central committee didn't meet for a month. We had some stuff happen. One of our committee members unfortunately passed away, and we had some issues with trying to find somebody and some changeover. But we're looking at probably October until we're going to have our dinner. We don't have it on the books yet or anything. But also, speaking of fall, I'll plug a fun event for you. Fun fact, little known fact, the best kept secret in Western Maryland is that Fred Fox and I play in a band together. Hell yeah. The Oakland Oktoberfest Oompa Band, which gets together
Right.
in the fall to go honk around at a lot of German. There's a
I
lot.
don't remember, Todd. Do they have some beer? Do they serve beer?
You know what? I think they occasionally do have beer because in heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here.
That's true.
Right. So,
So true.
come see Fred and I in our lederhosen and in our fancy Alpine hats. He plays the trombone much better than I play the trumpet, and we have a good time.
It is so much so. So true. So true. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, again, thank you, Mark. July 25th for the Lincoln Reagan dinner at Whiskey Lodge. So get your tickets as soon as they are available to you. I would also like to put a plug in for National Library Week this week because our libraries here in Garrett County are just fantastic. Speaking about punching above your weight, this library system we have here way punches above its weight on many fronts. So as I mentioned, we have the new library that was the ground was broken for about a month and a half ago, and this being National Library Week, I couldn't resist putting a plug for the Garrett County libraries because they're super valuable.
Awesome.
So Jackie, I have to give you a chance because you've got a YR convention coming up.
I do. So we have our state YR convention on May 3rd. We are bringing in the Leadership Institute to do some trainings on fundraising and also membership recruitment. So if you're a member of any kind of organization, doesn't even have to be political, and you want to learn something from one of those, come on out. It's only $25 and food will be served. It's going to be in Kent County. We are also in fundraising mode to send a full delegation of Maryland YRs to Nashville this summer for our national convention. We really want to have a large group out there to represent, to show that Maryland really is one of the best states out there. And we also punch way above our weight for a state our size. Todd will tell you he's been to one of our national conventions before. It's incredibly impactful. We learn a whole lot. We get to talk to a lot of legislators from all over the country. So we're trying to send at least 25 delegates this year. So if you're able to chip in and help us out, mdyrs.com is where we are raising money. And then we'll also have some fundraisers around the state that we'll be announcing soon. So, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. What do you got, Mark?
Well, hold on. I would be remiss if I didn't mention going to Masoni's up in Baltimore County. We'll have a little video that promotes them coming up, but there are other alternatives for pizza. Obviously, Italian food in general at Masoni's, but there are other alternatives in addition to Frostburg. But Masoni's is one that we'll recommend. But it's great having you both on, and it's always great to see you back, Jackie. You haven't been around lately.
I know. I haven't even been home lately. I'm tired. It's good to be back.
Thank you all.
Yep, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely. Au revoir.
Happy Easter.
Let's go down to Masoni's, where Italian cuisine shines. Let's go down